Hi everybody, I'm Andy the Vegandy. Welcome to another food photography tutorial. In fact, I hereby relaunch my food photography basics series that I started end of 2017. But then, well, I went on holiday and my computer crashed. So long story short, here we are back again. In this series, I will explain and share with you all my tips and tricks about photography in general and food photography in particular to help you become a better photographer. In this first episode, I'm gonna explain and share with you my 4 tips that help me improve my image quality from this to that and ultimately allowed me to produce higher quality and more engaging social media content. So I hope these 4 tips will help you too. And stay tuned because in the end I'm going to give away an additional bonus tip that hopefully will help you in improving your image quality and getting it to a professional level. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. Alright, so tip number 1 of my 4 tips to improve your image quality is get an interchangeable lens camera like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, because these are so much more versatile in food photography and photography in general than just using a smartphone. But you may say the cameras on smartphones nowadays, they're really good, and yes, I have a Samsung Galaxy S8 and the camera in there is fantastic. But well, the shallow depth of field is not as good, and zooming in or telephoto is also not very good. And for that, you need an interchangeable lens camera. But if all you want to do is shoot top-down flat lays, then a smartphone may be all you need, because there you don't need shallow depth of field. And then if you have a good smartphone with a good camera, that might be all you need. But I personally think that an interchangeable lens camera like a DSLR or a mirrorless will be a very good choice. But you don't need the latest version of these cameras, because what do you need as a food photographer? You need ISO 100 or 200, so you don't need those crazy ISO numbers, because you will be mostly shooting on the tripod, so you're not working in low light situations most of the time. And most of the time you will be shooting with a manual focus. So you don't need the lightest and fastest AF system out there. You don't need 500 frames per second burst rate, because, well, most of the times you will be shooting one photo at a time and then check it and then go back. If you do action shots, you might need more frames per second burst rate, but 3 to 5, what is offered in most modern and even older generation cameras, is all you need. So you will see you don't need the latest specs and like a $6,000 camera. All you need is possibly a camera that is like this 10 years old and that offers you to mount different lenses to it. So when people ask me what camera should I buy, I always ask what is the budget? And let's say they say $500, and then I say, well, then spend $200 on a camera, because that's all you need. And then tip number 2, get good lenses. So spend $200 on a lens and $100 on accessories, because the lens makes much more of a difference than the camera itself, especially for food photography. You don't need the latest specs camera, you need really good lenses. These make so much more an impact on your image quality than the camera itself. So for instance, this is the Canon 50mm 1.8. It's plasticky, it's cheap, it's about $120, but it's a prime lens with exceptional image quality and sharpness. So this lens with a DSLR, you're like $300-400 in if you buy a used one. That's all you need to start, a good prime lens, it's all you need. So I highly recommend getting some really good glass for your DSLR or mirrorless, because the glass makes much more of a difference. So tip number 3, as we said, we spend $200 on a camera and $200 on a lens. That leaves $100 for accessories, and that includes a tripod. Definitely and always shoot on a tripod if you're a food photographer, because it helps you in composing your image much better. You don't need to shoot at ISO 6400 because you need to have handheld, and the shutter speed needs to be very, very fast. So you can lock your camera on a tripod and then go ISO 100 or 200 and have even 1 second of an exposure and you don't care. It's still crisp and sharp, and that's all you want. You want photos be as crisp and sharp as possible, and the tripod definitely helps you in improving your image quality and getting really sharp photos. So always invest in a good tripod. Tip number 4 is when you want to get the most of your images, shoot them in RAW if you have a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, and then edit them in Lightroom or Photoshop. This way you can get really the most of your images, and this helps you improve your image quality tremendously. So the moment I started to use Lightroom, my Instagram account exploded because people saw immediately that this is my style of edit and people recognized me again. And this is what you want. You want to have a recognizable style. It takes practice to get there, but only with editing you can get a recognizable style. And editing is so much creativity that you can put in, and it helps improve your image quality so much. So definitely don't avoid Lightroom and Photoshop because you think it's Photoshop. No, I always say 50% of the photo is taken during the shot and 50% of the photo happens during post-production, because editing helps you develop your style and makes you unique and recognizable. So definitely use Lightroom and Photoshop to get the most of your images. So these are my 4 tips to improve your image quality. So in summary, get a DSLR or mirrorless with a good lens, put everything on a tripod, shoot in RAW and edit in Lightroom and Photoshop to get the most of the images. And as I promised in the beginning, there will be a 5th and additional bonus tip, and that is if you want to get the most of the images and want to get them to look as professionally as possible, color correct your PC monitor, because that is what makes such a difference. So in the beginning you used the laptop with a rather cheap monitor, and after editing the photos would look completely different on my mobile phone. So and nowadays I use a high-end monitor that is color corrected, and I check it every 2 weeks, and on all the devices the photos always look the same, and that helps you improve your image quality and makes your workflow much more efficient. So I hope these tips helped you. That's where I leave it. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you liked the video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a wonderful day.